I recently did a YouTube poll where I asked what are the most difficult steps in creating a directory, and the majority of people said it was actually coming up with an idea. So in this video, I'm going to go over 5 different directories that I found that are pretty successful directories. This list features everything from really simple static directories to really advanced B2B programmatic marketplace even directories that are making multiple millions a year. So hopefully you can use some of these as case studies, whether you're just building something small, kind of statewide, not something massive in terms of directory size, to something that's really big, right? Like if you're trying to build a really profitable website directory, some of these are multi-million-dollar directories. Obviously, I'm a big fan of directories, but I think a lot of the narrative out there is that directories are so 1996. Hopefully this video does a couple things. The first one is give inspiration to those who are building directories. I know some of you are just starting your journey. Some of you have directories. Ideas are everywhere, and directories are very much a viable business opportunity if you are willing to go out and build it. And the second goal is to hopefully persuade you not to just blindly listen to all the SEO doomsday folks out there saying SEO is dead. Obviously, these are successful websites, and it's like I'm cherry picking the ones that have made it. And there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of websites that have failed before these. By the way, the r/SEO subreddit is awful. I think there's just so much misinformation. To me, it's obvious that people haven't gone and owned and operated a bunch of different websites, testing out different SEO tactics or theories. So let's dive in. I found a good mix of a bunch of different websites. So you'll see websites here that are statewide, some that are nationwide, some that monetize with ads, some that have full funnels that are basically funneling in website visitors into a SaaS business or another business that they own. So there's just a lot of diversity here. So with that, let's take a look at some of the directory builds that I found. So this is the first directory. It's soakoregon.com, and it's a statewide directory for hot springs in Oregon. There are a few things that I actually love about this website because of the simplicity of the design and the entire website as a whole. But look at this. They have 14,000 monthly visitors, and you can see here that they have been very resilient to all of the Google core updates. I do see that they peaked around March 2024, which was one of the big core updates, and they lost a little bit of traffic going into April, but very much a more or less flat line. During these times, that's a massive win. So just looking up quickly the coldest times of the year, I do think there may be a little bit of seasonality with this website. If it's really hot outside, then you probably don't want to go to a hot spring. It gets really cold in Oregon based on this quick search. The average daily high temperature is below 38 degrees Fahrenheit between November and March. And it gets as low as 14 degrees. So that's really, really cold, which makes sense that we see this uptick here. Majority US traffic, that's amazing. Off the bat, there's a couple things that are worth pointing out. The first one is their domain name. So Soak Oregon is definitely not the keyword that they're going for. I assume it's like hot springs in Oregon or something like that, which we can check here. Yep. Oregon Hot Springs, Oregon. So what this proves is that you don't need an exact match domain to be successful in the directory world. You can totally go with a branded name like this. An exact match domain does not guarantee success. The other thing is that the keyword that they're ranking for is pretty segmented in terms of the search volume. I think if someone were trying to build a directory and stumbled upon this keyword, they would see Oregon Hot Springs and see, oh, it only gets 3,600 monthly searches. Maybe that's way too low. I think I'm gonna go for something with way higher search volume. But as we saw, this website gets 14,000 monthly visitors. And if we just take a notice, these top 3 keywords that they're ranking number 1 for right here are essentially the same. You can't just look at Oregon Hot Springs and think, oh, if I rank number 1, the maximum amount of traffic I would get is 3,600 monthly visitors. Because there are synonyms to the keywords. There's also essentially the same keyword that's just rearranged, in a different order that also gets search volume. So these 3, I think, probably add up to somewhere close to 10,000 monthly searches. And then you have your kind of individual hot springs that seem to be famous in their own right. This hot springs here in particular gets 6,600 monthly searches, and they're ranked number 3. When you're doing your research, don't get so honed in on a single keyword's search volume. Yeah, this is an awesome website. They're definitely monetized through Mediavine Grow or Mediavine Journey. I recognize this little icon here. Let's see, they have a very simple website. This Oregon Hot Springs is the keyword. That's their H1 right here, right? If we inspect this, we can see this is an H1 class. So this is their header 1. And really that's it. I also noticed when you click on one of the icons on their map, it will tell you the name of the hot spring and then link to the actual listing page. And check this out. If we click on this, this is their listing page. They just have the name of the hot springs as their header 1 right here. And then they have some text. They have an H3 here called seasonal conditions. Not the most optimal from an SEO perspective, but that's fine. They have some internal links to what looks like some blogs, right? 9 hot springs near Portland, Oregon, as well as other hot springs in the area. A little image, which is named after the hot spring, which is good SEO practices. And then they have a map embed. So very, very simple. That is pretty much the entire, that's the entire page. And then they have more internal links to other hot springs. But guys, look how simple this page is. It's so simple that it's inspiring, because I'm pretty sure anyone watching this can create a web page like this. It's just a matter of going out and finding a good idea and then building a directory for this. Just gonna see if they do any other types of monetization. So I found another way they monetize. They have an Oregon hot springs checklist where they sell guidebooks and maps, backpacks, towels, and swimsuits, all sorts of different types of, useful items for hot spring goers. And if we click on a link here, this referral code right here is an affiliate link. And they have all sorts of affiliate links scattered here. And real quick, I looked up how they built this, and they just use WordPress. It's a really simple website. Let me see what this looks like from a mobile view. So yeah, their navigation page is just all the hot springs. So that is super, super chill. They have 106 pages, right? So not a massive directory at all. So that's the first directory, and an amazing start, an incredible start. I love to see a successful static directory. If I had to guess how much this website was making, I would ballpark this $400 to $700, around that range. It seems evergreen and very passive, so good for these guys. All right, so this next website is called localharvest.org. And this is what it looks like. So it looks like a directory for people to find farmers markets and farms. I'm just gonna say it right now, this is not a pretty website. And I mean that in the best way, because there's nothing more satisfying than finding a really ugly, old looking website that looks like it was straight out of the 2000s and it's dominating its own space online. Here are the categories that this directory is playing in. So we have farms, farmers markets, CSA, restaurants. Looking at the stats, this gets an estimated 24,000 monthly visitors. I'm assuming this website has been around for a very long time just based off the design. Let's try to figure out how they're monetizing this. So I think there's a couple things they're doing here. So the first one is they have CSA aware, which if we click request a demo, it takes me to this. Maybe it's a SaaS or some kind of CRM for farmers. We build software to help farms manage their business. So it looks like this CRM is owned by Local Harvest just based off this business email domain. And they are using the traffic coming in from their directory to then push it to their own software. I think that's really smart. So overall, I think if you own a business, whether it's a SaaS or a service-based business or whatever it is, you can build a directory as a marketing vehicle to drive leads and traffic to your other business. And as long as you do the due diligence of making sure that your website visitor is interested or has some alignment with the product that you're selling, I think it's really, really smart. Another thing that I noticed about this is they have featured members right here. And usually when I see the word featured, it means that these companies have paid a premium so that they get more visibility. Definitely could be another monetization method here. I would assume that the main monetization strategy here, they're probably just trying to funnel traffic into their software, and then I'm sure they make a little bit of money through their shop where they partner up with different farms and then sell products. Before we move on, this is really interesting. If we look at the last 10 years of this website, we actually do notice some decrease in traffic. And looking at this, a lot of these dips are in January. It kind of makes sense that their traffic goes down each January because it's just winter. If it's a nationwide directory, then a lot of the states in America are probably too cold to grow crops. So that might be a reason why there's just a dramatic decreased amount of traffic. Overall, I mean, they definitely have lost a good amount of traffic from their peak days, which looks like around 2019. Quick look at the organic keywords. They're ranking number 2 for CSA, which is quite competitive at 27,000 monthly searches. I don't know enough about people looking for CSAs and the type of people looking for that and how closely that aligns with someone who would buy a farm-related CRM. But I like the overall concept, which is to build a directory, rank it on Google, and then funnel that into another business. I think that can be applied in so many areas and so many niches. Now for the third directory, we have the scarefactor.com. It's a directory around haunted houses. Let's look at the stats. This is going to be extremely seasonal, but right now, estimated 11,000 monthly searches, which is actually much higher than I would expect for it to be when it's already January. But look at these massive seasonality spikes, right? As high as 124,000 monthly searches. At least it was on target to do that in October, which makes sense, right? But yeah, the previous years are really consistent. When it goes, just for that Halloween season in October. But yeah, here's the website. Right off the bat, we can see they're monetizing through Ezoic, which is just another ad partner. Ezoic was pretty amazing for me. I'm a fan. I think that they're not as good as Mediavine, if I had to say that. They have advertisers from all over the country, right? North Carolina, Illinois, Kentucky, North Carolina. And then they have their directory here. They have all sorts of categories for the different types of haunted houses. Looks like they have a YouTube channel with 18,000 subscribers, and they have a podcast. You know, whoever created this obviously went all in, and they really built out this brand. They have a podcast, a YouTube channel. If it's in an area where you're passionate about and you really just like have natural interest in it, why not build it out into something that has multiple revenue streams? That YouTube's earning them money. This earns money through ads. Looks like they even have a merch store. Okay, so they also have a TikTok with 134,000 followers. So this is a really well-oiled machine in a sense. These people have really built this into a brand. I don't know if they started with the directory or if they started their YouTube channel first. So this is a directory with 21 different haunted houses. And this is their directory listing. Really, really simple. But all of their traffic is coming from the actual location page, which is Ontario in this case. Very interesting play because, you know, obviously very seasonal. I'm sure that they make a killing in the month of October. If they're bringing in 100,000 monthly visitors just in the month of October, you know, for that month, they could be making somewhere in the ballpark of like $2,000 to $4,000, I would guess, just off the display ads. For me personally, I like stuff that is not as seasonal. I mean, this is as seasonal as you get. It's literally centered around 1 month of the year. But I see and I respect what these people have built. It's just really smart. They're not relying on Google's search engine for their business. So our fourth directory here is roaminghunger.com. And this is a directory where you can either find a food truck or you can buy or lease a food truck. So this is a bigger website. It gets 76,000 monthly visitors. It has very consistent traffic. You know, we do see some seasonality. In the summer months, we see a peak. Food trucks are usually outside, so I assume when it's colder, people don't go to food trucks as often. And we do see like consistent lows in the December months right here. For the most part, it doesn't appear like it's been affected greatly or at all by any core update. Let's take a look at the website. So here's the homepage. You have people who are looking for food trucks. Maybe it's crowdsourced or it's, submitted by food truck owners who want to do marketing. But they also have this segment where you can buy and sell a food truck. So this is both a B2C and a B2B directory website. Yeah, this is a directory for people selling their truck. They have to be monetizing this somehow. Roaming Hunger does not own any of the equipment, and Roaming Hunger connects the seller with interested buyers. They have this entire directory for B2B food truck sales, and then they have this side where people can find food trucks near you. Yeah, if you have a lot of data and you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I actually format this? This is actually a pretty simple and smart way to go about it. They basically have these toggle buttons for every state, and then you can click on the area that you're in. They even do corporate catering. This is an extremely impressive directory. The depth at which this goes. Another angle to their directory website is kind of similar to what care.com does, and it's basically selling the lead. So I'm assuming that catering is actually a really big angle in their monetization strategy here, because at their homepage they basically make it known that they do catering, right? Book food truck catering right here. And they have all this social proof from big companies who have worked with them to get catering. So in a lot of ways, this is very similar to what care.com does, which is, it's probably the most successful directory that exists. I'm assuming that Roaming Hunger collects information about a corporate gathering, where Apple or Disney is looking for food catering for their employees. I'm sure it asks how big of a catering event it is, how many people, kind of gets an idea of their budget. And then they'll probably take that lead and just sell it to food trucks that are willing and capable of catering to Apple or Disney or whoever. It's definitely more of an advanced directory build for sure, but it's also easily the most profitable directory that you could ever create. That's why care.com made over 200 million in revenue this last year. I'm sure there's a big company behind Roaming Hunger. It is interesting that they have so many different angles. They have B2B catering, they have B2B food truck sales, they have B2C, just directory, find a food truck near you. Let's take a look at their pages here. 27,000 index pages. The most visited page is actually the one to buy a food truck. And they're probably ranking for some pretty ridiculous keywords is my guess. Yeah, so rank 2 for food truck for sale. Yeah, food trucks, just food trucks, rank 2. Food trucks near me, 53,000 monthly searches, rank 9. Food truck catering. In Ahrefs, they added these little tags for commercial and transactional keywords. And just look at the amount of commercial and transactional keywords with high search volume that they're ranking for. And they're all on the first page, high on the first page, rank 1, rank 2. The amount of business that this organic traffic is leading to is probably inconceivable. In fact, I'm going to look it up. So yeah, this website apparently brings in 14 million in revenue. I don't know what year that is, but that's pretty insane. It's a large company, 45 employees working on one website. I'm sure there's some people who recognize this domain and know about this, but I didn't know about it, and I think it's really interesting. So for our 5th directory, this one gets a little bit morbid, but it is a very interesting and impressive directory nonetheless. Apparently it's the world's largest gravesite collection. We have a website that is getting an estimated 1.5 million monthly visitors. Massive website. I mean, this is a very established website. 10 years ago, it was getting in the hundreds of thousands of organic visitors. So people can upload a memorial, and they are monetizing through AdSense here. So this website probably makes a pretty penny just through ads. So they have famous, okay, I could see this getting a lot of traffic. Where famous people's graves are, I can see that being really interesting to some people. There's not a whole lot of content. I'm sure the memorials and cemeteries, that's where all their content is, but I'm just talking about their main menu. But let's just see what kind of keywords they're ranking for. So find a grave gets 424,000 monthly searches. Enough people know about this where their branded keyword, find a grave, gets 41,000 monthly searches. This one might even also be branded, which is an insane number. For 400,000 people to be looking for a website, absolutely insane. And look, sponsored by an Ancestry. So not only are they doing Google ads, but they have selected sponsors. They're probably getting paid a lot more for this ad placement. I don't know who Oscar Joseph Harris is, and maybe that's a really ignorant thing to say. Whoever it is must be really popular. They're getting 50,000 monthly searches. Famous people, their reputation precedes themselves even after their death. So people are going to want to learn more about them. This website, findagrave.com, is capitalizing on that opportunity, which I think is really smart. There is so much interest in this. I'm kind of shook right now. If I had to guess how much money this website is making just off the ads, I'd probably guess $60,000 to $100,000 a month. And that's just through what I think AdSense is making, which is, these ads right here. They're obviously getting Ancestry sponsors too. 1.3 million index pages, so an incredibly big website. I mean, what else do we say about a website like this? It kind of speaks for itself. But yeah, so those are the directories that I found, and I actually had to stop myself because I found a lot of other directories that are location-based evergreen directories that were very successful. It just takes a lot of time to analyze them and stuff. So if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know down below, because I would love to make a part 2 to this and share other directories in interesting niches. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and share any directories that you know of that are interesting to you. Would love to hear those as well. But with that, I will catch you guys in a future video. Appreciate the support as always, and catch you guys later. See ya.